Hi everyone, so today I'm going to be talking about some cottagecore crafts that you might want to try. The first craft idea I have for you is making handmade bookmarks. Now of course you can make these out of anything you like. I personally choose just good old-fashioned cardboard, but of course you can use pressed flowers, leaves, sticks. I've used brooches, playing cards, whatever takes your fancy. I like to make bookmarks for each book that I read personally, so I like to, on the back of the bookmark, at the end of the book, write my review, and then I actually leave the bookmark in the book. And if I ever reread it, I can use the same bookmark. And I think it's just really fun because you can customize the bookmark to be whatever you like. Miniature kits. I find miniature kits super fun. I'm a big advocate for these little kits. I really love the kits that go in between your books, and so you can turn a little light on and you can have a little village in your bookshelf. But yeah, I definitely recommend giving miniature kits a go as a little craft you might want to try. The next thing you might want to try is making clay items. Of course, you can make pretty much anything with clay. I like to make little figurines, little dishes, pieces of jewelry. Something I like to do at Christmas is actually make little clay Christmas tree ornaments. The next thing I like making is I actually have these garden journals, and I also have seasonal journals. Now sometimes I incorporate them depending on the year and what I'm feeling. Basically what I add into these is the seed packets, you know, for each season, what did I grow that season, and then into the seed packets I put little dried pieces of plants that we've grown. I like talking about the birds that were in the garden, birds that I saw on my walks or my foraging expeditions. In my journals, I like to talk about the world around me, not so much me. So I love talking about all of the seasonal changes and, you know, the first snows, the first frosts, all of that. If you want some inspiration, the Country Diary of an Edwardian Lady, which I have talked about before, is beautiful. Next thing is dried flowers. I highly recommend trying making dried flowers because you can use them for so many different things. They're beautiful decor, they can be gifts, they can be used in wrapping. You can of course sometimes take the petals and put them in herbal teas or on cakes as decoration. They're just really, really great for pretty much any craft. They're a great ingredient for your other crafts. The next thing you might want to try is wood carving. I personally am terrible. I did give it a go one time and it was not for me, but I know a lot of people really enjoy it and are very clever with it. My grandfather is one of those people. And of course you can make so many different things. You can make figurines, you can make little carvings, you can make gifts for people. You can even sell your crafts if you get good enough at it. Next thing I love making is curiosity cabinets. If there's a specific thing that you like collecting, for example, I am a big rock person because I'm a geology student, you can make little curiosity cabinets. You might have feathers, taxidermy, dried pieces that you've found, for example, flowers, herbs, etc. Perhaps you're someone who likes bringing back souvenirs from their travels. Curiosity cabinets can be filled with, you know, one specific type of thing that you collect or a whole bunch of different things. They're just really beautiful and customizable. I recommend these kinds of cabinets. You can generally find them in thrift stores very cheaply because a lot of people don't know what to do with them or don't have the space for them. I've seen them on the side of the road for free, so I would just have a look for some of these if you're wanting to make one of those. Something else you might want to try is making dried fruit slices. So I really enjoy making dried fruit slices because they have so many different uses. One of my favorite things is getting citrus, generally orange or lemons I find the best, and on the flesh, on the inside of the rind, when that's nice and dry, you can put essential oil and then hang it in your car, and that just smells lovely and it looks really pretty, and you can just replace it as needed, and you can also reapply the oil to reinvigorate the scent, and that's just a really nice natural way of making your car smell good. Other things you can do with orange slices are pretty much limitless. You can put them on seasonal wreaths, you can put them in drinks and baking, you can use them as gift wrapping. You know, at Christmas, I think everyone's seen the little orange slice on the parcel. You can of course also do things like make little garlands in your kitchen and all sorts of things that are very cottagecore. I'd just like to apologize, by the way, in the background one of my parrots is singing and it's very loud, so if you can hear that, I do apologize. The next thing is seasonal wreaths. I really love making seasonal wreaths to welcome in the next season. Seasonal wreaths, I love using actual seasonal ingredients, so I go out into the areas around me and I just forage bits and pieces that are in season, I dry those, and then I make them into a lovely circular wreath and I just pop it on my door. These are great as gifts, or you can of course use them to decorate your own home. And I don't think wreaths should be kept just for Christmas. I think they're a year-round thing that is just very beautiful. Next thing is foraging supplies kit, making your own kit. I really recommend this because you will forage different things depending on where you live. You can go and buy your own kit, but these often have things you don't need or won't use. The things that I have in my kit, actually, if I went through my kit, we'd be here all day, but things that I have in here are things like I have an A5 foraging book, I have my glass jars, I have pouches. What else do I have? I have a magnifying glass, a field notebook, lots and lots and lots and lots of snacks. Love me a good snack. Oh, and I always take a decent water bottle with me. Making your own foraging kit I just think is a really fun experience, and because you can completely customize it, it can actually work for you when you're out in the field. The next thing I like making is a home herbary. So what I mean by this is I just have a shelf of jars and it's filled with bulk herbs and spices. You can either dry these herbs yourself, or you can of course just buy them in bulk. I know for a lot of people it's not really accessible to be growing and drying your own herbs, so this is one way that you can do that and still have that really pretty cottagecore aesthetic no matter where you live or what you have around. The other thing I love about this is that you can curate it to be what you use in your kitchen. Not everyone uses the same herbs and spices, so you can make it specific to you. Along that same line of thinking, making your own herbal tea mixes is really fun, and I think something that everyone should give a go at some point if you like cottagecore. So I really love making sleep teas with lavender and chamomile and that sort of thing, only because these look really beautiful in the jars, but also because they are actually really beneficial. For example, I love making lavender and chamomile teas because they're great for helping me sleep. The next thing that I think is a really great thing to make is a cottage diary. So this is sort of a cottagecore diary that you can use to document your cottagecore crafts and trips and experiences and things. So for example, perhaps you tried a new piece of baking, you created a piece of embroidery, maybe you crocheted, maybe you did all of these cottagecore things, and you can put it all in your cottage diary, and then it can kind of be this little memorabilia little journal where you can go back through and see how you have developed your cottagecore, things that you've tried, and it's just really pretty. You can make it however you like. It can be dark cottagecore, light cottagecore, rustic, whatever aesthetic you want. And I just think they're really nice, and it's a great way to look back on your progress. The next thing is making herbal parcels. So I'll pop dried herbs and flowers and things into muslin cloth, and then I'll dab some essential oil on it. This is really nice because you can make these little scented bundles. You can give these to people, you can pop them under your pillow. For example, pop some lavender oil on some dried lavender in a little parcel. It's great for sleeping. You can customize these to be whatever you like, and I think it's just really a nice little compact craft you can make. It's very cheap, it's very easy. Just grab yourself a big sheet of muslin one time and you've got limitless parcels. The next thing is making hairpins. You can either carve these yourself and sand down wood that you find outside, or you can actually just take the stick as it is and just bake and sterilize it, and there you have it, you have got a hairpin. And I think what's really lovely about these as well is they're completely unique. No one's going to have the same one as you, and then when you're finished with it, you can return it to the earth. Of course, this would not be a cottagecore crafts video without talking about preserves. Something that could be really fun is perhaps you go and pick a bunch of fruit and then you come home and make it into jam. Now, I do know that, you know, fruit picking and things, if you're going to a farm, it's very idyllic and everything, but it can be quite expensive. So what you can do is get the berries that are considered B grade, and these are much cheaper, and you can make really beautiful jams and things, and we often make bulk jams doing this. We find this is really economical, and then you have jam for 1, 2, 3 years. Yeah, it's a really great way of making your own jams cheaply. Another thing you might want to try is doing postcards and cards in general. I really like using postcards as travel diaries. Create your own, and I think this adds such a personal touch to them. Also, if you make your own cards, for example birthday cards for friends or family, you can customize them to be for that person specifically. If you know they like a certain color scheme, certain images for example, or perhaps, you know, maybe they're like you and they're really into cottagecore, so you can put dried flowers on the front and really make it personal and special for them. Next up we have jar lanterns. So jar lantern, very easy, don't stress. It's basically a glass jar and you pop bark, flowers, herbs, whatever you like around it, and then you pop a tea light candle inside, and it creates these beautiful silhouettes around the room. And they create a really nice low ambient warm light. I find these are really nice as well, even when they're not lit, just sort of dotted around the place. The next thing is you might want to make your own wild bird seed, and I think this is great because you can curate it to the birds and species that are in your local area. Now, of course, you can just go and buy a wild birdseed mix from the store, but I do enjoy making my own. I also think when you make your own, you can add little tidbits in that perhaps wouldn't be in the commercial mixes, and just do a little bit of research beforehand to make sure what you're putting in is safe for them. I think this is also a really kind thing to do for the natural world because, of course, in the seasons where food is scarce, you can just spread a little bit around and enjoy watching them feast. The last thing I have today is making your own local foraging book. I think this is really great because, of course, no location is ever going to have the exact same microclimate. So I like making a little journal and writing down when certain species arrived in my area, what birds I see and when, what insects I see and when, because it creates a better picture for you of when to forage in your local area. Making a foraging book that's your own is really pretty. You can make it however you like, and I think it's great for referring back to, because you know, okay, last year at this time, this species came out and it was around here, so I'm gonna go look there now. And I just think it's a really great way of looking back. And also, you know, you can put in samples, you can really make them your own. So I hope this gave you a few ideas on some cottage crafts you might want to try. And as always, I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video.